Fernando Mendoza out of Indiana, formerly of Cal from 2022 to 2024. Indiana 2025. Let's just reel off these accolades. College football national champion, Heisman Trophy winner, Maxwell Award winner, Walter Camp Award winner, Davey O'Brien Award winner, AP College Football Player of the Year, Consensus All-American, Big Ten MVP, first team All Big Ten, Big Ten Championship Game MVP, Peach Bowl Offensive MVP. I think this might be the quickest one we've ever done. Gav, let's just get it. Red star, please.
Red star!
Let me just break it down into 3 sections as to why I think Mendoza is going to be successful at the next level. The first word for me is resilience. Let me take you back to the Big Ten Championship game against Ohio State. The very first play of that game, Mendoza gets absolutely rocked by an Ohio State defender. He's down on the ground. There's a hush that goes around. The projected number 1 overall guy, the projected Heisman winner, he's down. He gets off the field, shakes it off. He comes straight back out, and he tears Ohio State a new one. That's one example of just a number of incidents where he shows his resilience. You can look at the national championship game where he's getting beaten up a bit by Miami. Probably the only time I ever saw him be frustrated this whole season, and yet he's still resilient enough to bounce back. And that's the second word, bounce back ability. The bounce back ability of Fernando Mendoza is fantastic. Even after making mistakes, Mendoza had thrown fourth quarter interceptions in Indiana's 3 biggest road games. Against Iowa, he did it. Game-winning touchdown the next drive. Did it against Oregon, pick 6. Game-winning touchdown the next drive. Did it against Penn State, 2 drives later. Not only the game-winning touchdown, but one of the most remarkable plays of the entire college football season. He has the composure. He has the bounce-back ability to come back from errors. The last word is clutch. That Penn State game where he drops back and he somehow manages to find Omar Cooper Jr. off the back foot, managing to find him in the back of the end zone. And you saw against Miami as well, after getting beaten up, 4th down, running play, spins out of a tackle, not only gets the first down, but dives through one of the most enduring images of the college football season, him diving, getting smashed in the process, getting the massive touchdown that ultimately helps Indiana win that game. There's just not enough superlatives to say how great Mendoza's season was. A lot of people could say it's a one-year wonder thing, but this is a guy who originally committed to Yale before going to Cal, so he is a very intelligent young man, and he's 6'5", 225 pounds, a great height. He's got a very gangly frame. We've seen him take a lot of hits. He's endured them all. He's got a really nice arm, really excellent touch. Some of the back shoulder throws that he's thrown downfield to Charlie Becker throughout the whole season. Does stay calm in the pocket, very rarely bails out when he doesn't need to. He's got really nice footwork, can really move. He's just a really professional, passionate leader. He is prone to dodgy decision-making here and there. The pick 6 against Oregon was bad, but he bounced back from that. There's just so much about the player, the character. His mother has MS, is wheelchair bound. He talks about how much of an inspiration she is. And he's such a brilliant speaker.
Why do you think his name emerged? Because going into this season, he wasn't one of the top 3. How do we factor that in? Is it just that everyone else has dropped off, so he's clearly the number 1?
I look at past drafts and where I would put Mendoza. 2022, I think I would rank him above any of the QBs. How we felt about the prospects at the time. Willis, Sam Howell, Matt Corral, pretty weak, and obviously Brock Purdy at the back of it, end of it. But I think I would have Mendoza rated above any of them. 2023, that was Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson. I wasn't that high on Stroud. I know you were. But I was quite high on Bryce Young and probably would have him behind Young. This is what I'm saying. Fernando Mendoza isn't the greatest prospect I've ever seen, but what he managed to do, the storybook season he had, it really can't be ignored.
About Caleb and Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, so out of that 24 class, I'd probably have Mendoza 3rd behind Williams and Daniels. Definitely would have been my number 1 last year. I didn't think there was a first-round talent in last year's QB class. You look at that Raiders team, it's going to get a new young head coach in there. It's got a ton of cap space. He's got Ashton Genty and he's running back. He's got Brock Bowers to throw to. This could be a really underrated setup for it.
A turning point for them, for sure.
It may take a couple of years, but I truly believe that Mendoza is somebody who can really get the most out of that team. I absolutely love the player. I think he's going to be wonderful.
What do you think, Rich? You as high as Mark?
Yeah, he's my red star.
Okay.
Hey! Red star!
The thing that really impressed me right off the bat was his red zone career is 39 touchdowns and no interceptions. I think that speaks volumes. He's got some things to work on. I think his pre-snap reads, he needs to be able to read the blitz a little better. Iowa just was all over him, and so was Alabama. But the guy's definitely the best in this class. And I agree, last year he would have been the best in that class as well. Just a really smart player. He's a leader. He processes well. His mechanics are nice. I don't think he has a super high ceiling, but I think he has a high enough floor that he could be a good starting NFL quarterback. I think maybe a top 10 at some point in the NFL. I would go that far. I've heard some reports that they say good arm, but not great. I think he has a great arm. That Alabama game, he threw a TD in the end zone. It was 35 yards on a rope. I was impressed. That's a big time throw. Definitely the best quarterback in this class and my red star.
Nice. So it means you're a +2?
Yeah.
I'm a +1 on Mendoza. I'm not as high as you guys, but I do like him. I feel like the ceiling is a little bit capped. But I do like what I see. I do think he's pro-ready. I do think he's the best quarterback in this class by a country mile. I think the Raiders have got a solid quarterback. I'm just thinking that he's not a Joe Burrow, you know? He's not a guy that's going to lift your team above into kind of championship expectations, at least not straight away. I'm sure he can develop. And I do like what he does, especially like what he does in structure. I like his accuracy. And those are two things that I think are really important. You see him going through some reads. I like all that side of his game. I'm not going to repeat the positives that you guys have said. Where I have some questions, some of his off-structure stuff, his off-platform, his sidearms, they look a bit awkward. You often see him jumping when he's rolling out, jumping into throws, throwing off back foot. I think that's going to be a problem at the next level. He's got to clean that side up because I think he's going to be throwing picks left, right, and centre. When plays break down and he goes into a kind of, like we used to say, backyard Ben, I think there's going to be some things he needs to clean up. You do see him going through his progressions, but I don't think his vision is quite there yet. You don't see him scanning the whole field. He tends to spot read and then boot out. It's not there. And in that part of his game reminds me a little bit of a rookie Baker. Like he's ready to bat. I think that can be ironed out. Again, I don't think it's like an unfixable thing, but it's definitely something that you see on his tape. The awareness, you mentioned the Iowa game. They cooked up an absolute scheme to destroy him and it worked. Their blitz plan really got to him. I don't think he could read what they were doing at all. Their blitz, their pressure totally got to him. That's the book on him, right? If you can conjure up what Iowa did, I think you've got a starting point of a defensive scheme to try and neutralize him. And along with that awareness, also some of his pocket movement sometimes fails to escape. He tends to boot out rather than climb up into the pocket. And I think you need to be able to do both. I don't see as much pocket climbing as I'd like. He's kind of defaults to running outside. You mentioned the arm. Does he have a cannon? The deep ball accuracy is good, but the velocity does seem to drop off when throwing downfield, and particularly between the numbers. The outside throws are there, but the ones down the middle, sometimes you see it drop off. But the main thing is the dealing with the pressure. Does he read it? Does he feel it? Can he navigate it? And does he have the poise when throwing under pressure? I think, how good was that line he had at the Hoosiers? I think it was pretty good, wasn't it?
It was good. I don't think it was great. Did you see the national title game? Bain destroyed their right tackle. I mean, just destroyed him. He was running for his life a lot. So I think it was decent. But I mean, Bain's a top, 3 pick. So what really impressed me, I don't know if you guys feel about this, but I thought his back shoulder throws are freaking awesome.
Yeah, they're unbelievable.
Definitely the best in the class. Like really, really nice.
That works into that red zone stuff you were talking about, right? He can really accuracy there.
Yeah, him to Becker was an absolute. It was almost a cheat code at some point. You're talking about Mendoza under pressure. Looking at the advanced stats of how he dealt with pressure, I think it looks pretty decent for Mendoza, really, in a lot of places. I mean, he had an adjusted completion percentage of 72.9%.
Oh, his completion percentage is off the charts. Yeah. 4th out of everyone in 2025, 2nd out of the draftable guys.
Yeah.
And you look at PFF as well, 4th highest passing grade overall, 2nd out of all these guys we're talking about with a 90.7 grade. So, yeah, I mean, absolutely, the analytics don't lie. 9
touchdowns under pressure this season, the most out of this draft class. I think he does manage pressure pretty well. It's obviously going to be a different ball game at the next part. But I think the other key thing about Indiana as a whole, no 5-star recruits on that team. I'm sure a lot of that is down to coaching, but I can't think of another college quarterback from this past season who could have helped that team go 16-0. And I think Mendoza was a massive part of their success.
Yeah.
Well, I think they did do a good job of scheming to his strengths. They had a really efficient, effective offense, and their defense is really good too.
Obviously, the coaching has been absolutely fantastic for them. But yeah, I think Mendoza on his own was was also just absolutely fabulous.
I mean, it sounds like I'm being down on him. I'm not. I'm a plus one priority
yeah.
target. You know, I like the guy. I think what I like best about what he does is the deep ball accuracy. I mentioned his deep ball accuracy down the middle, but when he throws it off his front foot, hits the boundary and he just drops it into that honey hole, right? And he's beating, you'll see a safety coming across. It's a tight window. The window's closing and it just drops in perfectly. Plus skill for me. He's way above a lot of the quarterbacks in this class and quite a few others we've seen at that particular thing. He can live on that in the NFL. So that's why he's going to be a starter, because that's a dangerous thing. You know, you can really exploit cover 3 with that. So yeah, he's got a weapon, definitely.